Ladies and gentlemen, there comes a time in every life when the skies darken, the heart grows heavy, and sorrow knocks at the door. It does not ask permission. It simply enters, quietly or with great force, and sits beside us, uninvited. And in that moment, everything we thought we knew about strength and joy is put to the test. You may wonder, why me? Why now? But let me tell you something powerful. Sorrow is not your enemy. It is not the end. It is, strangely enough, a doorway, a hidden opportunity to discover courage you never knew you had, to touch the depths of your soul where hope still flickers like a small but steady flame. You are not broken by sorrow. You are shaped by it, refined by it, made deeper and stronger because of it. And if you meet it, not with fear, but with faith, you will rise above it, not only surviving, but triumphing in a way that will bless your life and the lives of others. Sorrow is one of the most profound emotions a human being can experience. It touches every life, in every place, at every time. No one is exempt. To live is to, at some point, encounter sorrow. Yet far too often, we treat sorrow as something alien, something we must resist, deny, or escape. But the truth is, sorrow is a natural part of life. It is woven into the fabric of human existence, and once we begin to see sorrow not as a sign of weakness or failure, but as a deep confirmation of our humanity, we take the first step toward healing and growth. There is something strangely beautiful about sorrow. It proves we have loved, that we have cared, that we have invested a part of ourselves into something greater than ourselves. Whether it comes through the loss of a loved one, a shattered dream, a betrayal, or a period of profound loneliness, sorrow visits the heart because the heart has been open. And when we try to avoid sorrow or pretend it doesn't exist, we rob ourselves of the very opportunity it offers us to deepen, to mature, and to rediscover the strength of our spirit. When sorrow arrives, it is not a punishment. It is not a sign that we are broken beyond repair. In fact, the presence of sorrow often reveals the depth of our capacity to feel, to empathize, to understand others, and to walk in their pain. It connects us. It humbles us. It softens us in a way that no joy ever could. But in order for sorrow to serve this sacred role, we must meet it, honestly, openly, and courageously. We are often conditioned to believe that we must always be strong, always smiling, always moving forward without pause. But strength is not found in pretending we are unaffected. True strength lies in the willingness to sit quietly with our sorrow, to acknowledge it, to say, yes, I am hurting. In that moment of honesty, something miraculous begins to happen. The soul starts to speak. It begins to teach us what no textbook, no lecture, no easy life ever could. When you face sorrow with courage, not trying to flee from it, not masking it behind distractions, but facing it with calm faith, you begin to realize that sorrow is not a wall, but a window. Through that window, you can see a deeper reality. You can begin to understand yourself more completely. You begin to see the fragility of life and, at the same time, its resilience. You begin to notice the things that truly matter. You realize that while sorrow may bend you, it does not have to break you. There is a spiritual truth that sorrow can be a turning point. It can strip away the shallow comforts and noise of life, leaving you with something raw, something real. In that quiet space, many people hear the voice of God more clearly. They find a peace that passes all understanding, not because the sorrow disappears, but because they have learned how to carry it with grace. They have learned that sorrow can walk beside joy, that mourning and gratitude can exist in the same heart, and that tears are not signs of defeat but expressions of love. Meeting sorrow requires humility. It means admitting we do not have all the answers. It means surrendering our illusion of control and accepting that pain is part of the journey. But there is no shame in that surrender. In fact, it is the doorway to a more meaningful life. Those who walk through sorrow and come out the other side are often the people who love more deeply, listen more patiently, and live more intentionally. We must also remember that sorrow is not a sign of isolation. Though it may feel lonely, you are never truly alone in your grief. Across the world, across time, people have suffered and they have survived. They have lifted their heads after heartbreak, stood again after falling, smiled again after long nights of tears. And you can too. What you are feeling is not unique in its presence, but it will become unique in what it teaches you. You will learn your own lessons, find your own meanings, discover your own truths, but only if you allow yourself to truly face it. So let us not be afraid of sorrow. Let us not try to hide from it, suppress it, or rush through it. Let us honor it. Let us sit with it. Let us understand that to meet sorrow is not to be defeated by it, but to invite transformation. Because on the other side of sorrow is not just survival. On the other side is a clearer vision, a stronger heart, and a deeper appreciation for the gift of being alive. When we meet sorrow as a companion rather than a curse, we grow in ways we never imagined. And slowly, gently, light begins to shine again, first as a flicker, then as a glow, and eventually as a steady flame guiding us forward. When sorrow enters your life, the most important choice you have is not whether it comes, but how you respond to it. Because sorrow in its many forms will visit all of us. No one escapes this truth. But while you may not control its arrival, you do control the attitude you carry in its presence. And in that attitude lies the seed of your healing, your growth, and your eventual triumph. Your attitude is not a surface-level reaction. It's not simply wearing a smile while you're falling apart inside. A true attitude, one that shapes your life and transforms sorrow, is a decision made deep within the soul. It's the quiet voice that says, "This pain will not destroy me." It's the inner strength that whispers, "Even now, I will not give up." Sorrow has a way of magnifying your thoughts. It turns up the volume on every doubt, every fear, every painful memory. If your attitude bends toward bitterness, sorrow will feed it. If your thoughts spiral into despair, sorrow will deepen them. But if your attitude leans toward faith, hope, and perseverance, even in small amounts, sorrow can become a great teacher, even a strange and sacred companion. What you believe in your heart during sorrow shapes what happens next. If you believe that the sorrow has come to ruin your life, that belief will weigh you down like a heavy chain. But if you believe that there is something meaningful on the other side, that you will not only endure but emerge wiser, then you will rise, not all at once, but steadily, surely. The way you think, the way you talk to yourself, the way you interpret what's happening to you, these choices become the tools that build either a prison or a path forward. A positive attitude in sorrow is not denial. It is not pretending everything is fine. It is not refusing to cry or feel. It is the courage to feel everything and yet still believe in the good. It is choosing not to let the sorrow define who you are. It is reminding yourself daily, this is not the end of me. I am still here. I still have value. I still have purpose. People with strong attitudes don't always look strong. They may be weeping. They may be weary. But in their hearts they hold a quiet defiance, a determination to keep going. They wake up and face the day even when they don't feel like it. They speak words of encouragement not only to others, but to themselves. They say, I don't understand why this happened, but I trust that something good can still come from it. That is the kind of attitude that can move mountains, even if it begins as nothing more than a whisper. The truth is, sorrow can break your heart wide open, but what grows in that open space is up to you. If you fill it with gratitude for what was, with love for what remains, and with faith in what is to come, you become unshakable. Life will see you bent, but not broken. It will see you wounded, but not defeated, because your attitude, your inner resolve, is greater than your circumstances. There are moments when the weight of sorrow feels too heavy to carry. In those moments, the attitude you choose becomes your lifeline. Will you choose to believe that this pain has purpose? Will you choose to believe that your story is not over? Will you choose to believe that even now you are being shaped for something greater? That choice, repeated every day, begins to change everything. Sometimes it helps to speak your attitude aloud, to declare, even if your voice trembles, this will not be the end of my joy. I still have light inside me. I still have strength. I will find meaning in this. I will grow stronger from this. The words you speak shape the thoughts you think, and your thoughts shape your future. You are not powerless. Even in sorrow, you can plant seeds of hope with your words, your mindset, and your decisions. A positive attitude also opens the door for healing to begin. It allows you to see opportunities where others see obstacles. It opens your eyes to blessings hidden in the darkness. It helps you notice the quiet kindness of a friend, the beauty of a sunrise, the comfort in a shared tear. These small moments become sacred reminders that life still holds goodness, even in grief. Your sorrow is real. Your pain is valid. But so is your strength. So is your courage. So is your power to choose how you walk through this. Sorrow may be part of your journey, but it is not your identity. Your attitude will decide whether sorrow becomes your downfall or your rising. And if you meet it with faith, if you hold on to even the smallest spark of hope, you will discover that sorrow can refine you, not ruin you. It can deepen your soul, sharpen your perspective, and bring forth a version of yourself that is wiser, kinder, and far more powerful than before. There are moments in life when the shadows grow long and the days feel impossibly heavy. Sorrow wraps around the heart like a fog, making it hard to see beyond the present pain. In those moments, logic alone cannot carry you forward. In those moments, when all earthly comfort feels distant, there is something greater, something more powerful than the sorrow itself, and that is faith. Faith is not the denial of reality. Faith is the belief that beyond the pain you now feel, there is a dawn waiting. It is the quiet confidence that even though you cannot see the way, there is a way. It is the assurance that sorrow may last for the night, but joy comes in the morning. Faith gives you the strength to keep going when everything else says stop. It is not built on everything going right. In fact, it is often born when everything seems to be going wrong. True faith does not require explanations. It thrives in mystery. It holds on not because the situation makes sense, but because something in the heart says, I trust there is more to this than what I see right now. That trust becomes your lifeline. It becomes the rope you cling to in the storm. When sorrow threatens to pull you under, faith whispers, hold on, you are not alone, you are being carried. Hope walks hand in hand with faith. If faith is the foundation, hope is the light that shines upon it. Hope is the belief that something good still lies ahead. It is the strength to believe that life can begin again, even after deep loss. Hope gives wings to the weary heart. It does not erase sorrow, but it transforms how sorrow is carried. With hope, sorrow does not crush the spirit. It softens it, deepens it, and ultimately renews it. When you have faith, you stop asking, why is this happening to me? And you start asking, what is this trying to teach me? You begin to realize that even sorrow has a purpose. Maybe it came to awaken something inside you. Maybe it came to slow you down so you could listen to what your soul has been trying to say. Maybe it came to open your eyes to something you once overlooked. With faith, sorrow does not feel like the end. It becomes a chapter, not the whole book. In times of sorrow, faith is often quiet. It's not always a loud declaration. Sometimes it's as small as a whisper. Sometimes it's a single prayer spoken in the dark. Sometimes it's a trembling voice saying, I don't know how, but I believe I'll make it through, and that's enough. Because faith, no matter how small, holds immense power. Even a flicker of faith is enough to pierce the darkest night. When sorrow tries to convince you that life has lost its meaning, hope reminds you that meaning is never lost. It's only hidden for a while, and with faith, you trust that even if you can't see it yet, the light is coming. You may feel lost, but you are not abandoned. You may be broken, but you are not beyond repair. Faith says that healing is possible. Hope says that joy will return, and together they pull you forward step by step, breath by breath. You may look around and feel like everything is crumbling, but faith is what reminds you that underneath the surface, something is being built, a new strength, a new understanding, a deeper love. Faith helps you look at sorrow and say, this hurts, but it will not destroy me. Hope helps you look at the future and say, I will smile again, I will laugh again, I will love again. This isn't blind optimism, it's divine truth. Life always finds a way to rise again, and so will you. There's something powerful that happens when you choose to believe, even when everything around you feels uncertain. That decision, made in the heart, activates strength that comes from beyond yourself. You begin to draw from a deeper well. You begin to see signs of life in the ruins. You begin to notice the kindness of others, the beauty in a moment of peace, the soft encouragement of someone who understands. These moments become sacred. They become evidence that healing has already begun. Let faith be your anchor and hope your guide. Let them speak to you when sorrow tries to silence you. When you feel too weak to stand, let faith lift you. When the path ahead seems hidden, let hope light the next step. You don't have to know how everything will work out. You just have to trust that somehow in time it will. And even if you can't feel it yet, the truth remains. There is life beyond this sorrow. There is joy waiting to find you again. There is purpose, beauty, laughter, and peace on the other side. Faith does not make sorrow disappear, but it gives you the courage to walk through it. Hope does not erase the loss, but it opens your heart to what still remains. Together they form the quiet strength that carries you through. So take heart, believe again, hope again. Life is not over. The story is not done. Something beautiful is still being written, and you are a vital part of it. Sorrow, while painful, can become one of the most powerful forces for transformation in your life. It may seem in the moment that sorrow only takes. It takes your peace, your joy, your energy, and often your sense of direction. But if you are willing to look deeper, sorrow does not only take. It gives insight, it gives compassion, it gives clarity, and it opens a door to purpose that comfort could never reveal. You do not have to be crushed by sorrow. You can be carved into someone stronger, wiser, and more purposeful because of it. When sorrow comes, the first instinct is to resist it, to push it away, to try to go back to how things were before. But the truth is, once sorrow enters your life, you are never quite the same again, and that can be a gift. You can choose to let sorrow define you, or you can choose to let it shape you. The sorrow you feel does not have to be the end of your story. In fact, it can be the beginning of a new chapter, one where your life becomes more meaningful than ever before. The purpose you find through sorrow is not always loud or dramatic. Sometimes it begins quietly in a question that rises from the ache inside your heart. What now? What can I do with this pain? That question, asked honestly, opens the way forward. Because when you stop asking how to escape sorrow and start asking what it came to teach you, you begin to change. You begin to grow. You begin to see that even your deepest heartbreak can lead to something more than just survival. It can lead to contribution. It can lead to service. It can lead to a life that, though marked by pain, is also marked by power. Every person who has made a lasting difference in this world has known sorrow, and not just known it. They have used it. They have transformed their private pain into public purpose. They've taken the lessons learned through suffering and used them to lift someone else. And that is the great secret of sorrow. It connects us, it levels us, it makes us more human, and when we use our sorrow to serve others, we become healers, not just of ourselves, but of the world around us. Your sorrow may have come through loss, betrayal, failure, or grief. Whatever its source, it carries wisdom. It invites you to slow down and reflect. It pushes you to reevaluate what truly matters. It strips away what is shallow and leaves you with what is essential. And in that space there is clarity. You begin to ask different questions, not how can I succeed, but how can I live a life that matters, not how can I be happy, but how can I bring light to others even in the dark. These questions are the roots of purpose. They grow in the soil of sorrow. Sorrow gives you eyes to see people you once overlooked. You begin to notice the quiet pain behind someone's smile. You feel more deeply. You listen more patiently. You offer encouragement more freely. You've been there, and because you've been there, your words carry weight. Your kindness comes from a place of truth, and that makes all the difference. You are no longer just speaking from your mind. You are speaking from your soul. That is the kind of voice the world needs. That is the kind of presence that brings healing. Purpose doesn't mean your sorrow disappears. It means your sorrow now has direction. It means you are no longer carrying it aimlessly. You are walking forward with it and using it to make the road easier for someone else. Maybe you write. Maybe you speak. Maybe you simply show up for someone who is hurting and say, I understand. In those moments, your sorrow is not wasted. It becomes a tool in the hands of compassion. It becomes a bridge between pain and hope. You don't have to know the full purpose of your sorrow right away. Sometimes it unfolds slowly. Sometimes it reveals itself in small, quiet moments when you realize you're stronger than you thought, or when someone thanks you for being there at just the right time, or when you find yourself smiling again, not because everything is perfect, but because you've chosen to live fully, even with a wounded heart. That is purpose. That is courage. That is transformation. So do not hide your sorrow. Do not bury it as though it were shameful. It is a sacred part of your story, and when you face it, learn from it, and use it, you discover something extraordinary. You find that sorrow, instead of ending your life, can be the beginning of a life more powerful than you ever imagined. A life lived not in spite of sorrow, but because of it. A life with depth, compassion, and purpose that could only have been born from walking through the valley and choosing not to give up. You are not broken. You are becoming. And the purpose you find in your sorrow may be the greatest gift you ever give to the world. When sorrow enters your life, it often brings with it a deep desire to escape, to run from the pain, to hide in memories of the past, or to fear what the future might hold. The mind becomes a restless traveler, constantly drifting backward to what was lost or forward to what might never be. And yet the real power to overcome sorrow does not lie in the past, and it is not found in the uncertain future. It lies in this moment, this very moment you are living in right now. In the present is where your strength begins to awaken. Sorrow pulls your focus away from the now. It tempts you to live in regret or dwell in what-ifs. But healing begins when you gently guide yourself back to the present, when you stop, breathe, and say to yourself, "This moment is mine. This moment I am still here." You may not be able to change what has happened. You may not know what lies ahead, but right now you can choose to take one small step toward peace. Right now you can choose to breathe, to stand, to speak a word of hope into your heart. The present moment is where life truly lives. It is where peace can be found. It is the only space where action is possible. You cannot act in yesterday. You cannot act in tomorrow. You can only act here now. And when sorrow overwhelms you, the greatest act of courage is simply to return to the now, to look around you, to feel the ground beneath your feet, to notice the warmth of sunlight, the sound of your own breath, the quiet beating of your heart. These things, though small, are sacred. They are signs that life still flows through you. There is strength in small actions. When grief is heavy, doing anything at all may seem impossible. But you don't need to climb a mountain today. You don't need to solve everything. All you need is one step, one choice, one movement forward. Get out of bed, take a walk, make a cup of tea, speak kindly to yourself. Write down one thing you're thankful for. These small actions become your victory. They are not insignificant. They are your path to healing, one step at a time. Living in the present also means giving yourself permission to feel what you feel without judgment. To say, right now I feel pain, right now I feel sadness, but I am still here. When you honor the present moment, you begin to allow emotions to move through you rather than control you. You give sorrow a space to be acknowledged, and by doing so, you weaken its grip. You are not pushing it away. You are allowing it to pass, and in its passing, you make space for something else, strength, clarity, even moments of unexpected joy. Often, we think strength is something big and loud. But true strength can be quiet. It is the whisper in the heart that says, "I will keep going." It is the decision to take this hour, this minute, and live it as well as you can. It is choosing to smile at someone even when your own heart is heavy. It is choosing to keep showing up for life, even if life feels uncertain. Each time you do that, you become stronger. You may not notice it at first, but over time, the strength grows. It builds slowly, gently, like the rising sun. The present moment is a gift. That's why it's often called the present. Even in sorrow, there is beauty in the now. There is beauty in your breath, your awareness, your ability to feel, to think, to speak, to move. There is beauty in the people around you, in a kind word, in the smile of a stranger, in the laughter of a child, in the quiet rustle of trees. Sorrow does not erase the beauty of life. It simply makes it harder to see. But the more you return to the present, the more your eyes begin to open again. You don't need to have all the answers today. You don't need to know where the path is leading. You just need to trust that if you stay present, if you keep showing up to each moment with an open heart, the path will reveal itself in time. You are not falling behind. You are not broken beyond repair. You are walking through a season, and seasons always change. But right now, in this moment, you have everything you need to take the next step. Let today be the day you return to now. Let this be the moment you pause, breathe, and recognize that you are not powerless. You are not lost. You are here, and that is enough. The strength you need is not far away. It is already within you, waiting to rise. It rises when you choose to live fully, even in pain. It rises when you choose to love, to hope, to trust, even when sorrow tries to silence your spirit. And the more you live in the present, the more you will see. Sorrow may shape your story, but it does not own your future. This moment is yours. Live it with courage, live it with grace, and let that be enough. Sorrow has a way of making you feel like you're standing alone in the world. It can isolate you, convince you that no one understands, and tempt you to withdraw into silence. But one of the greatest truths about sorrow is that it was never meant to be carried alone. You were not made to face life's deepest pain by yourself. No matter how strong or independent you believe you are, your healing will always be tied to connection. Connection with those who love you, those who care, and even those who may not say the perfect words, but who show up anyway, simply to remind you that you are not forgotten. When sorrow strikes, there is often a pull inward, a desire to retreat. You may think, I don't want to burden anyone, or they wouldn't understand. But the truth is, people who love you want to be there for you. They may not have all the answers, but their presence alone can be healing. A shared silence, a hand to hold, a shoulder to lean on. These are not small things. They are the lifelines that carry you through. Love doesn't always come in grand gestures. Sometimes it's a quiet presence, a message that simply says, I'm here, or a voice on the other end of the phone that says, you're not alone. There is strength in vulnerability. Asking for help is not weakness. It is wisdom. It takes courage to say, I'm hurting. It takes courage to open your heart when it's broken. But when you do, you invite others into your healing journey. You give people permission to support you, to lift you when you feel like you can't go on. And in doing so, you remind them of their own humanity, their own purpose. People want to help. They may not know how, but they are waiting for the invitation. Sometimes, love finds you in unexpected places. A kind word from a stranger, a gentle act of compassion from someone who's been through their own valley. Sorrow has a strange way of opening your eyes to the quiet goodness in the world. When you allow yourself to be supported, you begin to see that love is everywhere, and a neighbor's concern, in the soft prayers of a friend, in the arms of someone who holds you when words fail. These are not signs of weakness. They are signs of healing. They are the evidence that even in sorrow, you are still deeply connected to life. Lean into the people who love you, even when it feels difficult. Let them in. Let them sit with you in the silence. You don't have to be cheerful or strong. You don't have to pretend. Just be real, be honest, be present. True love doesn't ask you to be anything other than yourself. It holds space for you to feel, to cry, to grieve, to be uncertain. It stands beside you when the answers aren't clear, and through that presence, healing slowly begins. There is also power in shared sorrow. When you open your heart to others, you often discover they are carrying burdens too. Grief is a common thread, pain is a universal language, and when sorrow is shared, it becomes lighter. It becomes something you carry together. In that space of mutual honesty, relationships deepen, trust grows. Walls fall away, and what's left is a beautiful truth. You were never truly alone, even when you felt you were. Sometimes support comes from surprising places. A support group, a spiritual community, a friend you haven't spoken to in years. Sometimes healing begins through counseling or therapy, where a trained listener offers a safe space to express what feels too heavy to carry alone. Reaching out is not giving up. It is leaning in. It is saying, I want to heal. I want to grow, and there is profound strength in that choice. Let yourself be loved in your sorrow. Let people show up for you. Let them cook for you, listen to you, pray with you, or simply sit beside you in quiet solidarity. Let their presence remind you of the good that still exists. Sorrow will tell you that the world is dark, but love reminds you that light still shines, and even if it feels faint right now, that light grows stronger the more you let others share it with you. You are not alone. You have never been alone. Even when you felt forgotten, even when your phone was silent or your home was quiet, you were still held in the hearts of others. There are people who care, people who want to understand, people who may not know exactly what to say, but whose love is real and whose presence is a gift. Let that love in. Let it wrap around you. Let it help carry what you were never meant to carry alone. Sorrow is a part of the human journey, but so is love, so is kindness, so is connection. You were not made to walk through this valley alone. And when you lean on love, when you allow support to reach you, you will find strength you didn't know you had. You will find comfort in the midst of the storm, and one day you will look back and realize it was love more than anything that led you through. Sorrow often feels like an ending. It closes in like a heavy curtain, making the future seem far away, uncertain, and colorless. It drains the world of its brightness and can leave you questioning whether joy will ever return. Yet in the very heart of sorrow there lies an unseen promise, a quiet but powerful truth, that what feels like an ending may actually be the beginning of something new. Renewal does not always arrive quickly or loudly, but it always comes. Like spring breaking through after the longest winter, renewal comes gently, steadily, and with quiet strength. No matter how deep your pain, no matter how dark the night, life has a sacred rhythm of beginning again. There is something sacred in the breaking. A seed cannot grow unless it is first broken. From the outside, it looks like destruction, like loss, like death. But from within, something miraculous is happening. Roots begin to stretch downward. A shoot begins to rise. That is what sorrow does to the soul. It breaks the outer shell of who you thought you had to be, and invites something truer to rise from within. It invites a deeper version of you to be born, not in spite of sorrow, but through it. The promise of renewal is not about returning to who you were before the sorrow came. It is about becoming someone wiser, more compassionate, and more alive because of what you have walked through. Renewal is not a rewind, it's a transformation. It's the gentle unfolding of a new self, one shaped by the depth of what you've felt and the truth of what you've learned. You come to realize that sorrow didn't take your strength away, it revealed it. It didn't destroy your faith, it deepened it. It didn't stop your life, it prepared you for the next season of it. There may be days when you feel numb, days when everything inside you is quiet, and you wonder if you'll ever feel fully alive again. But even in those still, silent places, renewal is at work. Healing is not always visible. Growth often happens underground, beneath the surface, where no one sees. The roots are growing before the flower appears. Trust that something is happening inside you, even if you can't feel it yet. Trust that every tear, every moment of silence, every breath you take in the middle of sorrow is part of your becoming. Renewal asks for patience. It asks for faith in the unseen. It does not rush, and it cannot be forced, but it will come. Slowly you begin to notice changes. Your laughter returns in small moments. Your heart softens toward life again. You begin to see beauty in places you once overlooked. A sunrise, a song, the way the wind moves through the trees. These ordinary things begin to feel extraordinary again. That is the sign of healing. That is the sign that the soil of your life is becoming fertile once more. And then something shifts. You realize you are not who you were. You are deeper. You are kinder. You are more aware of others' pain. You listen differently. You speak with more thought. You carry yourself with more grace. You no longer need everything to be perfect to feel peace. You have discovered something far more lasting. You have discovered resilience. You have found strength that sorrow could not take away. You have discovered the quiet power of being fully present, even in imperfection. Sometimes renewal looks like a new purpose. You find yourself drawn to help others who are hurting. You write, you speak, you serve, you listen, not out of duty, but out of understanding. Your pain has given birth to compassion, and that compassion becomes a gift. You begin to see how your story, even the painful parts, can bring light to someone else. What was once a wound becomes a bridge, connecting your heart to others in ways that words alone never could. This is the miracle of renewal. Life doesn't just go on. It deepens, it expands, and while the memory of sorrow may never fully fade, it becomes part of your strength. It becomes part of the reason you love more freely, live more fully, and appreciate the present more deeply. You no longer take joy for granted. You no longer chase after things that don't matter. You live with intention. You love with purpose. You cherish what truly counts. Sorrow never leaves you the same, but renewal ensures that what rises after sorrow is something more whole, more awake, and more real. You may carry scars, but those scars are signs of healing. They are reminders that you endured, that you kept going, that you chose to believe in the possibility of new life even when everything in you wanted to give up. You are not at the end. You are at the beginning of a new becoming. Let that truth settle deep within you. Let it be the foundation you stand on. Life is still unfolding. You are still becoming. And no matter what sorrow you've known, there is still more joy, more peace, and more meaning waiting to be discovered. Renewal is not just possible. It is promised. Keep walking. Keep hoping. A new season is coming, and when it does, you will rise with it, stronger, wiser, and more alive than ever before. So go forward, not with fear but with faith, believing that within you is a power greater than any sorrow, a strength deeper than any struggle, and a destiny brighter than any darkness you've ever known.